What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Beyond the Game podcast. I'm your host, Terry. My co-host, Trey, is again out this week. If anybody watched the show on Tuesday where we did our recap of last weekend's games, y'all know that he's currently dealing with employment obligations that's preventing him from joining us this week. So, unfortunately for Trey, he won't be here tonight either. But I did talk to him today, and he gave me some stuff to pass on to everybody. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into this. It's Thursday night. There are a couple of games tonight, but before we get into our predictions for this weekend for both college and NFL, we're going to go over some news. So everybody's aware of the government shutdown, but the good news is that Air Force and Navy game will be played this weekend. They will not be shutting down. So for all you Air Force and Navy fans and all of us military guys and prior military guys and veterans, and it's good to see that the old military guys are doing what they need to do. Penn State lost Rojas, their starting linebacker. He's out with a long-term injury. Big Ten is looking at a $2 billion private capital deal. Vanderbilt's quarterback Pavia upholds his eligibility. Oregon Oregon running back Hughes redshirted, and so he won't be playing anymore this year. The 2028 national championship game is going to be held in New Orleans, and Iowa State lost two starting quarterbacks for this year due to injuries. And so with that being said, we're going to get into this weekend's games, and see how things are going. So tonight, the only game that appears to be going on. Hold on. Yep, it looks like it's going to be. Well, if I can get my. Give me 1 second, guys. My computer's not wanting to cooperate with me. All right, here we go. So it looks like the Thursday night game is Sam Houston and New Mexico State. Friday night got Western Kentucky and Delaware. You got Charlotte and South Florida. And then the late game is New Mexico and San Jose State. And then the late game is West Virginia playing BYU. BYU's undefeated and they're ranked number 23. Real quick, we're not going to get into Sam Houston and all them, but South Florida's probably going to beat Charlotte. I think they're going to be a better team. BYU's probably going to beat West Virginia since they're playing at home. Oh, and San Diego State and Colorado State are playing as well as the late games for tomorrow. Saturday's got a few good games for the afternoon, starting at noon. The big game in the SEC is Kentucky at Georgia. I think this is going to be a bounce back game for Georgia. I think that loss to Alabama, I feel like Kirby Smart and the Dogs feel like they have something to prove that they still belong as a top-tier SEC team. I don't know offensively if Georgia's going to make too many changes with Mike Bobo as the offensive coordinator, but I do believe that they need to open up the playbook a little bit. Kentucky has a pretty good defense. They've been struggling a little bit this year, though. But I do see Georgia coming back and making a statement in this game after losing to Alabama by 3 points last weekend. So see Georgia coming out and punching Kentucky in the mouth and winning this game. Let's see, Iowa State and Cincinnati. Iowa State's undefeated, 5-0. They're playing at Cincinnati. I'm going to pick Iowa State in this game. I think they're playing lights out football. They've had a few close games, but I just don't think Cincinnati's going to have enough to beat them. So I see Iowa State going 6-0 in this game. Wisconsin and Michigan. Wisconsin goes to Michigan. It's hard to beat Michigan at home, so I'm going to say Michigan's going to win this game. They're going to beat Wisconsin. They're going to go 2-0 in the Big Ten, 4-1 on the season. I think Underwood has a good game. I think Haynes carries the ball well for Michigan in this game. I think he gets the ball probably 20, 25 times, and he's probably going to break 100 yards. So Michigan wins big in this game against Wisconsin. Illinois and Purdue. Obviously, Illinois is coming off of a loss. So Purdue's 2-2. Illinois wins this game going into Purdue. Purdue's Purdue. Boilermakers. So Illinois goes to 5-1 on the year. Boston College and Pittsburgh. Boston College needs to win bad. They're 1-3, 0-2 in the ACC. Pittsburgh's 2-2, 0-1 in the ACC. If Pittsburgh wants to be talked about for ACC championship, they've got to start winning ACC games. But I do believe that Pittsburgh wins this game at home. Clemson and North Carolina. I think that this will be a bounce-back game for Clemson. I think Clemson goes into North Carolina and beats North Carolina at home. I think Clemson goes to 2-3 on the year. I mean, at this point, Clemson's season's over with. They're not going to be relevant in the ACC championship. They're not going to be relevant in the college football playoffs. I think at this point, their goal is to win 8 games, maybe 9. Finish the season either 8-4, 9-3, go to a decent bowl game, and then see what they can do in the offseason to fix some of the issues that they have. If, and it's a big if, Clemson keeps Dabo Swinney as head coach. I mean, obviously they've got some issues down there. I honestly don't think that Dabo has a locker room anymore, and I think those kids are just playing for themselves. So we'll see what happens. But now, I will tell you that if Clemson goes in North Carolina playing like they've been playing the last 2 games, North Carolina will win this football game and embarrass Clemson even worse. If Clemson goes 1-4, I'm pretty sure that you're going to hear talks about Dabo being fired. Kansas State goes into Baylor. Last 2 games, Baylor's been playing pretty good. They've won both games. Kansas State, I had them picked to be a Big 12 contender this year, maybe win the Big 12 championship. They're now 2-3, 1-1 in the Big 12. They've got some issues down there. Baylor's quarterback has already thrown for 17 touchdowns and 1,713 yards on the season. Their running back, Washington, has carried the ball 93 times for 492 yards and 5 touchdowns. Baylor's putting up some good numbers. Their issue is defense. They're having a hard time stopping some of these teams. If they can get their defense squared away and stop Kansas State, which Kansas State's going to try to run the ball and control the game, then I think Baylor can win this game. They're picked negative or -6.5. So we'll see what happens. Air Force and Navy, I touched on them earlier. They're going to play regardless of the shutdown. Navy's 4-0. If they win, they'll be 5-0. Go Navy. So Army's playing UAB. Excuse me. They're going to Birmingham. I think Army is having some issues this year. So we'll see if UAB wins that game or not. Ohio, Ball State, they're playing. It is what it is. Wake Forest and Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech fired their coach. Wake Forest is 2-2. Virginia Tech is 2-3. Virginia Tech is 1-0 in the ACC. This is an ACC game. Wake Forest is 0-2 in the ACC. Obviously, we know they lost that close game against Georgia Tech last week. I think this is going to be another close one for either team, and it can go either way. Virginia Tech's pick -6.5. Pick your poison on that one. Let's see. Oklahoma State and Arizona. Obviously, Mike Gundy was fired from Oklahoma State a couple of weeks ago. They're 1-3 on the season, 0-1 in the Big 12. Arizona's 3-1, 0-1 in the Big 12. I think Arizona wins this game at home. Penn State and UCLA. Penn State's 3-1. They lost to Oregon last week in a nail biter. Again, James Franklin's having a hard time beating those top 5 schools or those top 10 schools. I think he's like 2-21 against top 5 schools. You got to do something, brother, if you're going to make it to the college football championship. But UCLA, that's the bigger story. They fired their coach. They're 0-4. They're 0-1 in the conference. Penn State wins this game easily. And it is what it is. Yeah, there have been. And for those here, the voice coming in, that's God. So y'all just, he's with us all times, talking to us. So coming up next, Texas is going to the swamp to play Florida. For everybody that watches our show, y'all know how big of a Florida Gators fan I am, and how much I'm hating this season right now. Florida's defense is lights out. But Billy Napier calling the offense, horrendous. Be a head coach. You're not an offensive coordinator. If you want to be an offensive coordinator, walk away from Florida and let somebody hire you as an OC, and let Florida hire a head coach, because that's what we need. We need a head coach, not somebody who's playing head coach and trying to be an offensive coordinator. You cannot manage both sides of the ball. It's clear. We are 1-3 this year, 0-1 in the SEC. Texas is -4.5 in this game. I would like to stay here and say that Florida's going to win this game, but if we cannot do something offensively, then we will not win this game. So, yeah, I hope Florida wins. I'm just going to say that, but I'm not going to pick. You guys can pick on your own what you want. The big game in the afternoon, another big game in the afternoon is going to be undefeated Vanderbilt, 5-0, 1-0 in the SEC against 3-1 Alabama, 1-0 in the SEC. Vanderbilt's going to Tuscaloosa. Pavia for Vanderbilt's thrown for 1,211 yards and 13 touchdowns. He's also carried the ball 48 times for 294 yards. I would like to see Vanderbilt, who's ranked 16 and Alabama ranked number 10. I'd like to see Vanderbilt beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa, but that is a tall order for a Vanderbilt team. I don't care how much success they've had this year. Alabama's minus 10.5. I will be pulling for Vanderbilt, but I will not be surprised if they lose this game. So you guys pick your poison there. Another 3:30 game to look out for is 3-1 Boise State against 21 Notre Dame. How Notre Dame's still ranked, I have no freaking clue. I think it's a travesty that people always rank Notre Dame every year in the top 10 or the top 15, and then when they have a shit season, they stay in the top 25. I think there's much better deserving teams out there that deserve that 21 spot other than Notre Dame. I'd like to see Boise State win this game, but I think Notre Dame's defense is gonna come up with some plays. Notre Dame wins at home. They're minus 20.5. Virginia and Louisville. Virginia's ranked number 24, 4-1 on the year, 2-0 in the SEC. Louisville's 4-0. Another undefeated team, 1-0 in the ACC. Virginia travels to Louisville. We all know that Virginia's coming off that hot win against Florida State, which was considered an upset for them. But I think Virginia goes into Louisville. I think it's a close game, but I think Virginia can win this game. Louisville's pick, though, minus 6.5. So we'll see how that plays out. Washington travels to Maryland. Maryland's undefeated, 1-0 in the Big Ten. Washington's 3-1, 0-1 in the Big Ten. Washington's favored at 6.5. Yeah, I haven't seen either one of these teams play, so I don't know. So I'm not going to pick. Let's see. Syracuse and SMU. Syracuse is 3-2. SMU's 2-2. I think SMU wins this game. They're picked minus 17.5. So we'll see how that plays out. Let's see. There's a couple of scrub games for the remainder of the afternoon. Michigan State travels to Nebraska. I'd like to say Nebraska's going to win this game, but apparently they can't seem to get out of their own way. But Nebraska is picked at minus 11.5. Texas Tech and Houston. That was thunder. Way to go, God. Texas Tech and Houston. Texas Tech's traveled to Houston. Texas Tech is ranked number 11. And that's well deserved with the ball that they've been playing. I think this is going to be a good game. I think this is going to be a high scoring game because these two offenses like to run the ball quick, fast, and in a hurry. Texas Tech wins this game. They are favored minus 11.5. So yeah, Red Raiders. Minnesota goes into Ohio State. Ohio State wins this game big. They're ranked number 1. They're 4-0. Their Ohio State's minus 23.5. The big game of the night, or one of the big games of the night, is Miami at Florida State. Trey, by the way, says that he picks Florida State to win this game. Miami's minus 4.5, but Miami is undefeated. This is their first conference game. This is Florida State's second conference game. I do think that Florida State can hang with Miami. I do think Florida State's defense can hang with Miami's offense, and I think that Florida State's offense can put up points against Miami. I think this is going to be a game just like it was last week with Virginia. It's going to come down to whoever has the last possession, and I would not be surprised if this game goes into overtime. Mississippi State going into Texas A&M. Texas A&M's minus 16.5. I would like to see Mississippi State win this game and bounce back from their overtime loss to Tennessee last week. They hung in there with Tennessee. I think they can do the same with Texas A&M this week. Texas A&M is ranked number 6, but it is hard to beat Texas A&M at home. Although Auburn played Texas A&M hard last week, Mississippi State's got just as much chance to win this game if they don't make any mistakes. They're just going to have to get out of their own way. But like I said, Texas A&M is picked at minus 16.5. Colorado at TCU. Colorado's in a bad spot. TCU is picked minus 13.5. I think TCU wins this game. Kansas at UCF. Kansas is picked minus 5.5. But I think Scott Frost and UCF at home is going to be difficult to beat. So I'm picking UCF to win that game. Duke in California. California's 4-1. They're 1-0 in the conference. Duke's 2-0 in the conference. They're 3-2 on the year. I think this is going to be a close, exciting game. It's a 10:30 game, which the time change for the Blue Devils could affect them coming from Eastern Seaboard and flying all the way out to California and playing such a late game at 10:30 at night. So if anything, if Duke loses this game, it's probably going to be because of some sort of jet lag. And then the very last game of the night is Nevada and Fresno State. Fresno State's 4-1, 1-0 in the Mountain West. They're probably going to win this at home and enjoy a good win. So with that being said, that's all college football for this weekend. We are not going to take a break. We are going to roll right into NFL predictions for this week and some news. It looks like Lamar Jackson has been missing practice this week from his injury he sustained last week. Unsure if he's going to play or not. It looks like there was a hearing where somebody on John Gruden's behalf wanted a Nevada court to hear for him something about his NFL plea for a rehearing, but it got denied in the Nevada's courts. Walker has wrist surgery for the Jags, but could play versus Kansas City. McLaurin for the Redskins, or Commanders, excuse me, not the Redskins. I'm sorry. You know, all these woke people get offended over Indians being mascots. My Redskins, because that's what I grew up with. McLaurin ruled out against the Chargers. Apparently there's some drama with A.J. Brown. Surprise, surprise. And that's it. So now we're going to get into the games. Let's see. Right now, the 49ers are playing the Rams at L.A. The 49ers are up 14-0 if you guys are watching that game. So it looks like LA's struggles continue. As of right now, Mac Jones is starting quarterback. Brock Purdy's out again. He's 11 for 13, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns. McCaffrey, 8 carries, 24 yards. And he's also got 5 receptions for 44 yards and 1 touchdown. So they're in the second quarter. They just started the second quarter with 13:44 left to play. We'll revisit this right before we go off the air. So Sunday, Vikings and Browns. Vikings travel to Cleveland. I believe Joe Flacco has been benched, and Dylan Gabriel is starting for the Browns for this game. So you got another rookie quarterback starting to see if they can get the Browns offense rolling. But I believe the Vikings are probably going to win this game. This game is in London, so it's at 9:30 on the NFL Network or NFL Plus. Thank you, Roger Goodell. So we'll be looking at highlights when NFL Today comes on. Raiders at Colts. Raiders need a win bad. They're traveling to Indianapolis where they're playing against Daniel Jones. I think the Colts win this. Oh, by the way, Minnesota's picked minus 3.5 in that Browns game. Indianapolis is minus 6.5 against the Raiders. Giants and the Saints. The Saints are 0-4. One of the last remaining teams in the NFL with a goose egg in their win column. Giants are 1-3. I think the Giants win this game with Jackson Dart, and the Saints go 0-5. Cowboys against the Jets. The Jets are 0-4. Cowboys 1-2-1. They had that tie last week, which why in the hell the NFL still does ties, I'll never know. But anyway, Cowboys win this game against the Jets. New Orleans, by the way, back to the Giants and the Saints. New Orleans is picked minus 1.5. But I still say the Giants win this game. Dallas is minus 2.5 against the Jets. Broncos travel to Philadelphia. Eagles are 4-0. Phillies picked -3.5. I do believe the Eagles win this game at home. I think the Broncos keep it close, but I think that the Eagles win out. Dolphins and Panthers. Miami's -1.5 against the Panthers. I think Carolina wins this game. I think they are, even though these are two bad teams, I think Carolina's better than the Dolphins right now. Ravens and Texans. So the question is whether or not Lamar is going to play or not with his injury. If Lamar plays, Baltimore wins this game. If Lamar doesn't play, then the Texans have a real good opportunity to win this game. Lamar is 1-3. I mean, the Ravens are 1-3. Texans are 1-3. Not the start that the Baltimore was looking for, but Houston is picked -2.5. Titans again, 0-4. Cardinals 2-2. Titans have to travel to Arizona. I think Arizona wins this game at home. Titans go 0-5. Arizona for the spread is -7.5. Buccaneers and Seahawks. Tampa Bay's got to travel to Seattle and play. Seattle is -3.5 on this game. Buccaneers are still dealing with those injuries. This game can go either way, so pick your poison. I'm going to go with the Bucs just because I'm a Florida guy, but I like Baker Mayfield. But Sam Darnold's playing good this year. 905 total yards passing, 5 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. I think in order for Tampa Bay to win this game, they're going to have to control the line of scrimmage. They're going to have to run the ball, and they're going to have to keep Seattle's offense on the sidelines for most of the game. So if Buccaneers can do that, they can win. If not, then it could be a close game, and Seattle could win. But I'm gonna go with the Bucs. Again, the spread is -3.5 Seattle. Lions and Bengals. Lions travel to Cincinnati. Detroit is -10.5. I think Jared Goff and them go into Cincinnati and beat the Bengals and go to 4-1 on the season. Commanders and Chargers. Justin Herbert's thrown for 1,063 yards already, 7 touchdowns. I think the Chargers win this game. They're picked at -2.5. I think the Commanders might keep it close, depending on if Jaden Daniels comes back or not. So we'll see. But Chargers, I'm going with the Chargers at home. Bills and Patriots. Bills obviously are undefeated, 4-0. Drake May and the Patriots are 2-2. Bills win this at home. Buffalo's picked -7.5. Monday night, we've got the Chiefs and the Jaguars. Kansas City's coming to Jacksonville. Kansas City's picked -3.5 against Jacksonville. Again, I'm a Jags fan, but I don't know if our defense is going to be able to keep up with Kansas City's offense. They're going to have to keep them on the sideline. They're going to have to control the line of scrimmage. They're going to have to run the ball. They're going to have to keep Trevor Lawrence upright. He's going to have to make good throws, good decisions in order to win. If that's the case, then Jacksonville can pull out a win. If not, if they get into a shootout, then the advantage goes to Kansas City and their weapons on offense. And I mean, let's face it, their defense is good too. So, but hopefully the Jaguars win. But again, the spread is -3.5 Kansas City. So that's all the games for this weekend. Like I said earlier at the show, Trey's employment obligations kept him away this week. Just to give everybody a heads up, over the next couple of weeks, some of our podcasts may be a little shorter. It may be either me or Trey doing it. We may not be together because due to our employment obligations that we have a bunch of stuff coming up the first 2 weeks of October that are going to keep us busy at work. So he may have to do a couple of podcasts by himself. I may have to do a couple by myself. They may be recorded. We may not be going live much. But feel free to still contact us at beyondthegamepodcast6@gmail.com. We'll try to get back to you within 24, 48 hours. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on TikTok. Feel free to reach out to us. Feel free to share these podcasts if you like it. Let your friends and family know to watch it and listen to it. If you agree with us, that's great. If you disagree with us, let us know about it. We'll talk about it. But the next time we go live, we'll be posting it on our social media pages a couple hours before we actually do it, so we can get you guys out there to watch us and interact with us. We appreciate everybody's time. We appreciate y'all's support, and we hope you guys have a good, safe night. We'll talk to you guys later. Thank you.